Well, good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for coming out, especially on such short notice. We've got several folks I want to thank. The mayor and I were talking about this before. We'll get to the announcement about the port, but I remember before I was governor. I remember when I was in Congress sitting down with him up in D.C. and here and talking about the importance of this project. I want to thank him for his vision. You look around at all the development up here, and it has taken amazing local leadership. That's been with the mayor, the current sheriff, his predecessor, his fellow mayors, and others here that have done such a phenomenal job. Let's give a round of applause to your mayor for the great job. He's only been mayor 100 years, so you don't even know his name. He's called Mayor for Life. And look, we got a great delegation. I want to thank. I know some of our senators wanted to be here, Neil and Mike and Francis, and the weather, I think, prevented them from being here. I was teasing Andy. I said, well, nothing stops the House members from being here. And I appreciate our representative does a great job, not only the Ag Committee, but representing this area, the parish, and the community as well. We thank Andy for his work. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to thank, we got our sheriff, we got our assessor here, Jerry Clark. We got the mayor of Faraday, Gene Allen. I appreciate him and his leadership. We got the chief of police, Arthur Lewis. Here in Vidalia. We got some other folks here, some other aldermen and others. Let's give these men and women a great round of applause as well for their work. I was teasing folks, it's almost like church. Nobody wants to sit in the front row. We're not going to pass around a collection plate, don't worry. But I'll tell you a quick funny story about that. My kids they're getting older. When we moved in the mansion, they were 6, 3, and 1. My little girl's 11 going on 18. If you've got children, you know what that means. But my boys, they're still young, 9 and 7. My youngest, he's growing out of it now. But when he's about 5, 6 years old, and he still does every now and then, he insists on sitting on the very front row whenever we go to church. And I tell him, I said, say now, look, Daddy likes to sit in the back. We don't need it. But he'll march down. There'll be nobody in the first 3 rows. You know how most churches are. He sits in that front row, and we sit down. And 9 out of 10 times, he falls fast asleep in the middle of the sermon. I said, now, say. If you're going to fall asleep, you can't sleep in the very front row in church, because here's the problem. When you're the governor and your kids misbehave, everybody all week long comes up to you and says, was that your child in church that was sleeping, or was that your... I said, I don't know that. I have no idea who that child was. I don't know why that was sitting next to me. But anyway, it is good to be back up here. Before we get to the announcement about the port, the announcement about the levee, I want to remind us why it's so important to make these kinds of investments. I was born and raised here in Louisiana. And I remember a time when they literally were passing out bumper stickers that said, with the last person leaving town, please turn the lights out. Remember, things got pretty bad here. I don't know about you, I graduated from high school, went to a public high school, Baton Rouge High. I went to my high school reunion. And I was amazed how many of my friends from high school just don't live in this state anymore. Maybe they come home to visit their parents, maybe they come home at Christmas, but they left. For decades, we were the only state sending our kids to other states to get good jobs, to get good opportunities. And here's the sad thing. I talked about my 3 kids, and the great news is when it finally stops raining, they'll be playing football and soccer and baseball. They play every sport. And what's great is my parents, my in-laws, they live pretty close to where we live. So they come watch them play. And that's so important to a young child. Not about your kids, but my little boy, right before they're about to score, they'll hesitate, they'll stop for just one quick second and turn to the sidelines to make sure that we're watching. It drives me crazy. I'm sitting there yelling at Sean, my boy, said, just score. we'll cheer afterwards. But it's so important for them that their families are watching. But I got a brother and a brother-in-law, both of them raising their families outside this state. They got beautiful children. Their grandparents only see those babies at Christmas and Easter, maybe once or twice a year. Too many of us have families and friends and others that have moved away because they couldn't find good opportunities right here at home. Well, now the good news is we campaigned and we said that if you would elect me governor, we were going to make this the best state to raise a family, to create good paying jobs. And the good news is we're back on the right path. After 25 years of losing our kids for the last 5 years in a row, we've had more people move into the state than leave the state. Our economy has grown 50% faster than the national economy. Per capita income has actually gone up. While the national recession has hurt the country, our per capita income ranking is the 2nd highest it's been in 80 years. We set not 1 but 2 different records for the number of people working in this state. This year we've got more people working now than ever before. And let's go on and on and on, but here's the important thing. Now that for 5 years we've had more people moving back rather than leaving our state, that means our children are beginning to come home. Now we can't declare victory. We're not done until every child can pursue their dreams here. It's great that we're a top 10 state for private sector job creation. It's great that we're one of the few states that has more jobs than before the national recession started, but we can't rest until every child can find a great paying job in Louisiana. Now part of that is planning for the future, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Two very important announcements. The Bond Commission, we proposed an HB 2, and the Bond Commission has approved two different investments. The first one I want to talk about is the investment in this port. We've got approved now $4 million additional dollars for the port. Last year we committed $1 million. There's another $5 million in priority 5. That's a total of $10 million from the state. Now why is that important? I told you the mayor and I have been talking about this port for several years. This is important because this is about investing in the future. This is about bringing more private sector companies right here to this part of our state. The reality is we love the Mississippi River. It's a beautiful river. It's a great place to live. But it also connects us with the rest of the country. It can be a great driver of our economy. If we get goods in and out of that port, that allows our farmers, allows our companies, small and large, to benefit from our great location. Indeed, one of the reasons Louisiana was first settled was because of the river. We got some of the nation's busiest and largest ports. But a couple of numbers. I looked up some numbers before I came here today, and it just shows you the importance of investing in our ports. 1 in 5 Louisiana jobs are dependent on one of our 32 public port authorities. 73,000 direct jobs are on public port property. 396,000 jobs are supported by port activity. Indeed, DOTD estimates for every dollar we invest in port projects, our state receives $6 in benefits. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty good return on investment. And that's why we're here today. To invest for the future again so that our farmers can continue to not only feed their families, but help the entire economy right here. The reason we're here today to invest in this port is to help that next small business, or maybe that large business, come and locate right here. Because we know every time they make a dollar, they spend that dollar several times in our community. Maybe they'll go and spend it at a restaurant. Maybe they'll go build a home. Maybe they'll buy a car. They'll go spend it on groceries. So every dollar gets turned over again and again and again. And again, I want to commend your mayor and other local leaders and Andy and others who've had the foresight and the vision. It'd be easy to get complacent. It'd be easy just to sit back and say, we're going to keep just doing what we've always done. But instead they said, we've got to plan for the future. We've got to think ahead to how do we want to grow this community. And I think we've got an obligation. I think every generation of Americans has left more opportunities for our children than we inherited from our parents. You think about that. The American dream is that our kids should be able to do better than we've done. They work hard, get a great education. They should be able to provide for their children, our grandchildren, even more than we could have given them. And that's what today's investment's about. The second announcement we're making today is in addition to the $4 million, we're also providing another $1 million to continue support funding a levee raising project. And this is going to help protect our farmers, protect our land, protect our homes from flooding. This is a massive project throughout our state. But the bottom line is I've been here in good times and bad. I've been here when there was flooding. I've been here when we were making economic development wins. And it's so important that we invest to protect ourselves from that next challenge, that next storm, that next round of flooding. And this levee raising project will help us to do that. So $5 million today. We're here to announce $4 million for the port, $1 million for the levee raising project. Again, I want to thank your mayor, and I want to thank the others who worked so hard to make this happen. I want to thank you for coming out. And I'm really impressed. This community always comes together. Whether it's to fight those floods, whether it's to welcome new jobs, whether it's to bounce back, we've got some of the most resilient people you'll meet anywhere in the world. So I know today is a great day for Vidalia. It's a great day for Concordia. It's a great day for the state of Louisiana. I'm thrilled to be here with you. I think this $5 million investment, and this is done. This has been approved by the Bond Commission. No more steps to go through. This money has been approved. I think it'll mean more jobs thanks to the port. I think it'll mean more opportunities for our folks thanks to stronger levee protection. I'll let the mayor talk. You know, there are several things the money's going to help invest in. Ultimately, this is a 3-phase project at the port. It involves the road, involves some equipment, involves some other investments. I'll let him talk in more detail about the port. And as I bring him up here, I will say this. I can't overstate how persistent and how strong of an advocate the mayor has been for this port, for this community. I think he's done a phenomenal job. All you have to do is look around us and see the benefit of his vision and his work to improve the quality of life for his citizens. Let's give your mayor a great round of applause.
Thank you, Governor. First of all, I want to thank each and every one for coming out today. I know we had some bad weather, but Governor, fantastic crowd for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your parish. I've always been asked what separates this community from other communities. And it's a very simple answer to that question. It's our people that we have in our communities. Without you, we would not be able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish. But I want to thank our state legislation, Representative Andy Andrews, who has fought with us every step of the way on all our projects and helping us with those projects. And Senator Neil Reiser wanted to be here today, talk to him. He's running for Congress, and he's been very instrumental in working with us on our capital outlay projects. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm going to endorse him, but I will tell you I'm going to vote for him. Also, State Senator Thompson called earlier, wanted to be here. He said, Mayor, I'm on my way trying to get there, but it's a storm right now. Tell the people, please, don't forget about me. I think bad about me for not coming. So he did try to get here, and he's been a tremendous asset to us. I'm going to close with a couple of things before I get to the governor and what I want to say about him. I want to also thank Heather Malone and her staff, Concordia Economic Development, who has been with this project and all our projects from the very beginning. Heather, thank you very much for the hard work you've done. I want to go back a few years, and I'll never forget it. When the governor, of course, was congressman, we went to Washington to visit with him. He was always interested in what was happening in our area. Then he decided to run for governor. Never forget it as long as I live. He came to Concordia Parish. Former Sheriff Randy Maxwell and I and a couple more met with the governor at the Comfort Suites to talk about his plan and what he had for the future of this state. And as we were sitting there talking and asking him to help us and to work with us, especially on this port and other projects, he said, Mayor, you can depend on us working with you in your community. And let me say this to you. I don't think we could ever ask for anyone to work with us as much as he had. He came 9 times during his campaigning. We made him an honorary citizen of Vidalia because he came so much. And then after he got elected, he didn't forget about us. You know, sometimes that happens. They have a tendency to forget about your community. He did not. He's worked diligently in putting these projects together along with our state delegation. Would not have happened without his support. And but he said he was going to work with us. He was going to help us. He's done that. Governor, you almost made me cry on all these things you said about us today. But it's a tremendous day for our community. The governor's right. We have to have jobs for our young people. We don't want them to leave our state. Nothing hurts us worse than to see some of our people, our young people, when they graduate from college, leave our communities, because that's a tremendous asset for us. We're doing everything we can, the governor working with us, to bring those young people back to our area. They're coming back. Jobs are coming back. This state's moving forward under his leadership. The only regret I have is he's going to be gone in a couple of 2.5 years. I don't know what else he's going to do, but he's got our 100% support of whatever that may be. But I want to thank you for coming out today. I want to thank all the elected officials and secretaries for coming out today and working with us. So thank you very much again for coming and being here today. Thank you.
The governor never knows what I'm going to say, so he's always right here grabbing at me or whatever. But I told him, I said, I was glad. It seems like he and I have made approaches to airports and whatever else, and the weather always seems to be. And the crop is over with, and now he's brought the news of the port and the levee raising in. He's been here in good times and bad, like he said. He landed here, and the water was probably 6 to 8 feet deep in here, and he's seen what the levee protects us and y'all. But the other thing is, like everybody says, working together and working with y'all, from the mayor of Vidalia to Charity to Concordia Parish, we have a very good delegation. And to talk about what legislators do and whatever else, this is graduate school to me. I'm learning every day, and I have some very good professors with the governor and some of the legislators that I serve with. And I told somebody, I said, the greatest thing that I can see in the future, and I have one of my children that has come back to home, you know, and whenever she finished school, and believe it or not, she went to LSU and finished from Alabama, and she came back home. And it's like the governor said, it's something that just brings you to your knees or whatever else, and you want to leave things better then you had it, and that's the way we've always had. And that's what this delegation with the mayor of Faraday, Vidalia, and the whole police jury, and with the governor's leadership, the first time, whenever he and I met, I guess it was in '06 or whatever else, infrastructure in the port was one of the priorities that he put in his commitment to the state of Louisiana, and he succeeded with the port, and we know what the future will be for Vidalia. And I thank the governor and the bad weather for making his appearance here, and we hope, as we all say, we had the most bountiful year in agriculture. Now, the production of all this is increased. I mean, when I started growing cotton in 1977, we had boll weevils or whatever, about a bale and a half. Now we just got the acreage report. It was 3 bales to the acre across the board in Concordia. All that seed had to be loaded on trucks and sent out of here. With a port or whatever else, we can save money by just trucking it right here and shipping it all over the country. So I thank y'all for working with us to have Concordia Parish a better place than we had before. Thank y'all.
I think that concludes our program. The only question I've got for Andy is his daughter rooting for LSU or Alabama on November 9th? Raise your right. Well, thank y'all for coming out. We look forward to visiting y'all. Congratulations. Great day.